I was about 10 years old when or maybe 9 years old when I fell in love with the San Francisco Seals. They won the last pennant when they were in San Francisco in 1957. I fell in love with them to the point where, as a 10-year-old boy, I was sort of sad to see them leave and the Giants come to town. I really didn't realize the impact of Major League Baseball in San Francisco, but like I said, I was only 10 years old at the time. My father worked for Central Electric and he was an electrician at Seal Stadium. So he worked on the lights, and because of that, I was able to get a couple of artifacts, an autograph Seals stamp album, and this was a promotional thing by Golden State Dairy. You could get a series of stamps, and by the time the season was over, you could complete the stamp book. Because my father was the electrician at the stadium, I was able to get an autograph, a full stamp album with all the autographs. I also was able to get an autograph baseball of the last championship team San Francisco Seals had in San Francisco, and this is really of great sentimental value to me. I would never give it up or I would never sell it, but as baseball memorabilia got to be more expensive as the years went on, or got to be like an expensive hobby, I went to get this assessed at a memorabilia store, and the guy took a look at it. I told him it was complete autographed baseball of the 57 Seals, and he said, yeah, this is something I'd be interested in, but what about this signature here? And it turns out, as a 10-year-old boy, I fantasized about being a member of the Seals, and I had no memory of this, but I had autographed it myself, so it completely negated any financial value. But as I said, I wasn't gonna sell it anyway. This occurred when I was 7 or 8. I had no memory of it when my parents were alive. But if I could say this, Paul Fagan was the owner of the Seals. He had an intention of making the Pacific Coast League a third major league. In fact, the commission that determines what level your minor league is, they declared the Pacific Coast League an open division for a couple of years, which meant that major league teams could not draft players off the rosters. Anyway, that dream did not come true, so he turned ownership over to the league office. My father was an electrician worked at Seal Stadium as an electrician, so this is a stock certificate. My father was a 1% or one share owner in the San Francisco Seals from 1954 to 1955. This is the insignia that he got. I'm a stockholder in the San Francisco Seals. One of my t-shirts has that insignia also. It's just a quaint remembrance of a bygone era. Around the late 80s, mid 90s, I started watching people or saw people at Candlestick wearing vintage baseball clothing, usually vintage clothing of Major League Baseball teams. One day I saw a guy with a Seals jersey, and I asked him about it, and I said, where'd you get that? He goes, it's a place called Ebbets Field Flannel in Seattle, Washington. I decided to get the 1938 home jersey. This really has sentimental value to me. Number one, if you take a look here, this 39 with this structure here in this tower indicates the 1939 fair that was coming up in Treasure Island the next year. The other thing is 26 was the number of Lefty O'Doul. And I think most people are familiar with Lefty O'Doul being a native San Franciscan. And there's a great memory of Bayview School, which Lefty O'Doul attended. My wife's aunt attended as a classmate of my father. But when they got together for the Pledge of Allegiance, they would do 3 cheers for Lefty O'Doul. And by that time, Lefty O'Doul was a major league star. And she said if you yell loud enough, he'll come and visit. And he often did, because that was his original school. And anyway, the interesting thing about this and these jerseys is that wherever I go, when I go to the games at AT&T Park or when I'm out and about, in fact, when I'm wearing this jacket, there are many people in the Bay Area that still remember the Seals, and people will stop me and go, I remember my father took me to Seal Stadium. I remember I used to collect the cushions and get a nickel for each cushion after the game. That was one thing they let kids do to earn money to get in the next time. So it's sort of fun to wear these and to evoke memories from people that I see around that still remember the Seals. Also, when you look at that statue of the Seal in the back of center field at AT&T Park, there's a lot of young people that, because of that and because of the mascot Lucille, that the Giants have now, they have that some idea that there was a team here before the Giants. So for me, that's great fun. That's great fun, and it's great to baseball fans love to talk about baseball with each other, and this is sort of a vehicle for doing it.